Hi again then guys, and welcome to another installment of Days Gone By on Gran Turismo, but for this particular installment we're going back to an older Gran Turismo game, Gran Turismo 2 in particular. Now although we do feature Gran Turismo 2 pretty much every week on the channel, it doesn't tend to be in the Classics series, because although Gran Turismo 2 has a ton of cars which aren't featured now, most of them are not classics. Having notable classics wasn't really something that Gran Turismo 2 was strong on. There are some, but there aren't really that many if you compare it to many of the Gran Turismo games that came after. Now this particular vehicle is one of my favourite classics from Gran Turismo 2, a car which I really do not understand why they didn't keep it in the game. Of all of the cars that would be kept, this is one of those that I would have thought was a dead cert, because they're Japanese, of course, the developers of the game. They have a lot of love for the Japanese companies, understandably. Look how many different variations of the RX-7, the RX-8 even, the MX-5 that we have. So why on earth, after all that, would they not feature the original RX-7? That seems very, very strange to me. Now there must be a reason, but whatever the reason is, the reason sucks, because this is an awesome car. I personally love the FB RX-7, which is of course this one. My favourite is the FD, but this one is a very close second, because it's just got such a great simple design, and it's got enough power to get the job done, but it's at the same time not so powerful or so over-engineered that it would be stupidly expensive. You can buy these for pretty reasonable prices now. Now with that being said, this is the 1983 GT Turbo version, which has very strong tuning potential on Gran Turismo 2. It is turbochargeable, which not all that many cars are on that game, not as many as you might think in fact, but the fact that this one can be gives it a huge leg up on many of similar kind of sports cars that are featured in the game. You're looking at 433 horsepower from the twin rotor engine. That's pretty impressive for a tiny little sports car from 1983. You're also looking at 342 pound-feet of torque, and as you'd assume, it is very light. Rotary engine vehicles tend to be at least a bit lighter than their rivals generally, sometimes a lot lighter. This is a perfect example of that. It's a small car anyway, it's got that tiny engine, and it only weighs 938 kilos after the full weight loss package has been applied. Now in racing form, I'm not sure if it drops even more, because I personally don't like the racing modify on this car. I think it looks hideous, and I opted not to fit it for this car. But, of course, if you do play the game, then by all means give it a try. Based on many of the other race modify options, you could safely assume it probably drops it by about 30 to 50 kilos, or thereabouts. Now as far as horsepower per tonne, it is huge on this car, because the weight is nice and low, the power is nice and high, and when you put those two things together, you're looking at 462 brake horsepower per tonne. That is really good. That's very healthy for not just a sports car, but especially for a classic as well. As far as price, it's not a model that you can buy in a dealership. You have to get it from the used car section, obviously in the Mazda dealer, and I can't remember what the price on this particular model was. I think it may have been somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 credits, or thereabouts, but I can't remember exactly. So it's dirt cheap. And I can't recall if you can start the game with it or not, but if you can, it's definitely worth looking into, because this is a fast car. The handling is much better than it easily could have been. It could be very tail happy, very slippery. Of course the newer RX-7s are great drift cars. This one though is much more focused. The lower weight and especially the more compact size really helps with that, and the performance is strong, especially for its power. As far as the career mode goes, you've got a pretty nice broad range of tuning for this car, so you can definitely use it for multiple types of racing. So overall, if you do play Gran Turismo 2 and you get the chance to pick up this car when it appears in the used dealer, if you are an RX-7 fan, it pretty much goes without saying that this car is one that you'll want to try. Personally, I love the car, and it is a highlight, and as I said, a vehicle which I think is so strange that it's not featured anymore. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.